Hello, and welcome to Executive Edge, where insights meet action. Brought to you by Hartman's team of executive advisors. This video series delivers thoughtful takes and expert analysis on the top trends shaping technology, business, and industry. Designed to fit into your busy schedule, each episode runs 20 minutes or less, breaking down the innovations, risks, and opportunities that matter most. No fluff, just the insights you need to stay informed and ahead of the curve. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to Executive Edge. I'm Lauren Langer, Director of Marketing at Hartman Executive Advisors, and I'll be facilitating today's discussion. Today, we're delving into AI and financial services, driving innovation, efficiency, and security. Joining us are two distinguished experts, Shea, Vice President of Relationship Development for Financial Services at Hartman Executive Advisors. Shea collaborates with financial institutions to align IT strategies with business objectives. His experience includes aiding financial institutions in navigating technological advancements to enhance efficiency and security. Also joining us is Balduzzi, Executive Advisor for AI and Innovation at Hartman Executive Advisors. Anne has been recognized among the region's top 40 women in tech. Her career spans roles from Apple and AOL, and she now guides organizations in leveraging AI to foster innovation while ensuring security. Let's explore how AI is transforming financial services. Welcome, Anne and Shea. To get us started, my first question to you guys. How can a bank or an insurance institution identify the appropriate owner of AI strategy within the organization? And how does it align with their overall IT strategy?
Thanks, Lauren. Good to see you. I'm, excited to be here in such great company, and I'm really excited for where this conversation goes. There's obviously a lot to talk about with this topic of AI for banks, insurance companies, other financial institutions. I'm on the road a lot, and every conference I go to, especially in the last year, AI has been at the top of the list in terms of popular topics. So it's on top of executives' minds. And I certainly hear that in conversations that I'm having with financial services executives. So I'm really excited to get into this discussion, hear your thoughts and from your perspective on how AI is changing, particularly this industry. And I know for one thing, getting back to Lauren's question, teeing this up, my 2 cents is that when it comes to AI and who is owning that at the bank, obviously it's got to be cross-functional, but it really needs to be with a person or a group of people that understand the business first. It can't just sit in IT, because if it does, it's not going to drive positive business outcomes. So, I'll let you add to that, Anne, and continue this topic.
Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of companies establishing governance models. And as part of the governance model, there's a committee, because you really do need a committee that is made up of people, from leaders from all different parts of the organization, because there are going to be numerous AI initiatives. There's unlikely to be just one. There'll be several of them as this technology grows and flourishes. And so having that team of individuals that are charged with aligning those AI, kind of pilots that might be taking off, or other, initiatives, aligning those with the strategic goals of the business and making sure that a real good assessment is actually taken place in advance of that, so that they're, more than just aligning with the strategic objectives, they're aligning with the future goals of the organization and how that business is going to move forward, especially in these very, very competitive times. And so that committee sort of acts as like the kind of the base where, if there's an issue that's going on, it's a place where employees can report back. It's a place where decisions can be made. It's a place that can monitor the success or failure of a pilot. So that's, I think, one of the core pieces that needs to be established right off the bat.
So I know companies love committees. What also happens with committees is there's really no one person to sometimes put the onus on when a project fails or isn't completed by the deadline. What do you recommend to companies, particularly with AI committees? How can they maintain accountability within the organization to make sure that these policies and initiatives are getting implemented in a timely manner? Because we all know AI is very fast moving, and so I'm just imagining a bank or an insurance company that comes in and sets up this committee and things just aren't getting done fast enough. So what do you recommend for that?
Yeah, you have to have what we call a strategic AI roadmap. And that's going to actually help you stair step the different AI objectives, and feel free to change what those objectives are along the way because the technology is constantly changing. So just because you're tied to a specific AI roadmap that you might have created at the beginning of this year, or even at some point in the year, the technologies are changing. So you've got to go back and sort of reassess that roadmap on a regular basis. It helps to have somebody leading all of these initiatives. I have a preference for somebody sort of in your IT department because they have a history of having led different initiatives throughout an organization and likely already have connections into all the different areas of the organization and all the different departments. It's really important that everything is done above board, very ethically. I think that's true of every AI initiative. Everyone wants to see that happen. And make sure it's transparent all the way down to the employees and your staff so that people understand how the AI is working as best as possible, and how that is going to impact them over the long haul.
And as we're discussing committees, what do you guys think the biggest challenges that the committee and the financial institution are going to be facing when they're adopting these AI-driven solutions?
Yeah, definitely legacy systems that are already in place is going to be a big challenge. That doesn't mean to say you can't work around that. I mean, some of the newer AI systems are actually working quite well with legacy systems that might already be in place. But you've got to look at it from a really holistic process. And if you're trying to get one initiative off the ground and maybe it's not going so well or it's sitting in pilot purgatory, feel free to shift gears and work on something else that might be giving a more immediate impact. And it's those small initial wins, especially wins that are going to bring back dollars into your AI and future AI initiatives that are going to allow you to have that spend so that you can go off and do those other initiatives down the road.
And I also think data is a huge roadblock early on for a lot of banks. When they get excited, they found an AI solution and a perfect use case, but then they realize as soon as they open up the box, oh wait, our data has to be in order. And most banks don't have their data neat and tidy. And most financial service companies do not have crystal clear data. No one's going to have perfect data, but is your data as accurate as it practically can be? Is it accessible? A lot of these legacy systems make it very hard to extract your data, but there are a lot of other companies out there. I'm not going to name any, but there are a lot of other solutions out there in the banking world and in the insurance world that maybe aren't AI themselves, but obviously help the company create, have accessibility over their data and ownership over their data so that they can easily use it when implementing AI products and services. And so most of these companies are already down that path, right? And they're taking ownership over their data, but there's also a lot that are not. And so it's important to get that in order too.
That makes sense. I mean, what do you guys think the real world examples could be for these financial institutions that are trying, people that are really successfully leveraging AI today?
The number one focus from an AI perspective, use case that CEOs are having right now is fraud. And that is, they see AI as an opportunity to get more sophisticated about preventing fraud, and they also see it as a cause of fraud and a threat. There's AI use cases in lending, customer experience, internal efficiency, but fraud is definitely the number one topic that keeps coming up when it comes to use cases.
AI has taken your average hacker and turned them into a super hacker. Even banking customers used to be able to sometimes spot fraud just because it was a really poorly worded, email or something or a text message. But now AI is writing those and they're perfectly written and they're harder to, uncover. AI can even mimic somebody's voice. So it could sound just like your voice calling in, or somebody, an employee's voice that's changing a routing number or something to that effect. So these are a lot of serious concerns that banks should actually up the game on their cyber training. Because employees need to be aware of all the different ways in which these new phishing scams and other activities can occur within their settings. But on the flip side, there's a lot of opportunity with AI because you could get thousands of tiny security guards that are watching the money, and that can catch those fraudulent transactions before they ever happen. So that's sort of your predictive analytics of being able to spot it. And AI is capable of spotting things that our, human brains don't often spot naturally. So it gives you that sort of a little bit of edge of tracking that suspicious money movement or something that a human might miss. It also can help with other complications when it comes to, government regulations or, any other things that might be occurring over time to make sure you're in line with, all those different changes that will definitely be surfacing over the next year or two. And it's going to monitor these risks, by the way, in real time. This is going to be a constant ongoing, monitoring scenario. So you really will have that advantage to catching the bad guys, so to speak, when you're implementing these, solutions in the right way.
And before we move on to the next topic, can we talk for a minute about Copilot? Because I know a lot of these institutions are in the Microsoft 365 environment, and Copilot comes up a lot, I'm sure, in meetings. Do we need to use it? Is it worth it? The price keeps going up. Can you speak on that? I know we've internally been testing out Copilot, and there's some great features. There's some features that aren't quite up to snuff yet.
Yeah, I think the key thing with all of these AI solutions is you want to make sure that you read the fine print and that it is based on the type of business you have, that it is giving you the security factors you need. Copilot, luckily, does have very secure features already in place, probably one of the better ones. But if you look at other enterprise editions, they also have some of those same security protocols in place. But they're changing, so you've got to constantly be looking at it. It's important to have policies in place so that your employees know which systems they're allowed to use. Because you very easily could right now have employees using any number of the other large language models that are out there and might be most often using the free versions of those other models. And those free versions do not always come with those protections. And so therefore they could be putting personally identifiable information up or spreadsheets and trying to do their job more efficiently. But in the long run, that language model is actually learning off that data. And it is actually releasing that data in a very unsecure environment. So it's really super important to have those employee policies in place so employees know what they can and can't use.
How do they go about getting one of those? If they, do they go on the internet and search like a AI policy for financial institutions? Like, how do they start putting that together? What is the best way for them to get moving?
Ask AI to write one for you.
That might give you like a baseline from which to start off of, but it really helps to work with people that have expertise in this area, people who have written several of these types of policies, because the technology is changing, frankly, every day. I mean, there are large language models now that allow you to share your screen and walk you through things on your screen in real time. And that creates a whole new set of risks, so you've got to keep these policies continually up to date. And even these, large language models don't always know about the latest, greatest risks. So it's important to work with experts in this area to make sure that your policies, your governance models, and things like that are really reflecting the current technologies and evolving with those technologies over time.
Makes sense. So say we have a financial institution out there, which I'm sure there are tons that are like, okay, we're bought in. We know we got to do this. We're going to get left behind if we don't. For them, what are the first steps that they need to take in order to get started? Like, what education do CEOs need in order to lead AI innovation within their institution?
Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, so it's really helpful to have all the leadership within an organization to have at least the same baseline understandings of AI. People who are being educated about AI from, some people might have heard about it through social media, some people might have attended a conference, but when everyone's not playing, with the same, set of understanding, it can change how you view different, potential applications of AI. So starting out with sort of a 101 workshop of understanding so that people know what the tools are, how those tools can be implemented, and how best to brainstorm new AI, use cases for their organization, and use cases that are going to really help them achieve the goals they're looking to achieve. And then beyond that, it's, helping people as they stair step through, all these different initiatives, really helping them to review each initiative on its own and over time developing a matrix. And that matrix is going to help them put all of those applications into focus so they know where to start first.
That's great advice. And, a lot of CEOs, they're in this fork in the road right now because they see that AI is here and that it's moving so quickly, and they're almost paralyzed because they know that they have to embrace AI and lean into AI, but that's a hard thing to do. And so it takes some patience, but also it takes a lot of smart thinking and bringing in outside help to help develop a roadmap. Start small. I mentioned earlier the data hurdle. That can be a daunting task for a lot of institutions, but our recommendation to banks usually is start small, put together a cross-functional committee, get your data in order, and start with a use case, a practical use case that's easy to accomplish, and then develop a roadmap. So we didn't get into compliance much. That's another issue, but there's, it's not as complicated as a lot of CEOs probably think it is. Wouldn't you say that, Ann?
And some of the use cases to start out with are relatively simple to implement and are not that costly. The people are implementing chatbots, for example, using all kinds of interesting applications there. And that actually those chatbots, as they get more and more sophisticated, are becoming like people's top financial advisors. So it's funny that, here, you don't have to be a rich person to have a top financial advisor anymore when it comes to AI. You can get insurance applications and things like that. I mean, there are companies that are having these turned around in minutes and seconds. So it's not taking days and weeks to analyze. You're actually able to give tools to, when you're assessing a loan application, you can pull in data from a wide range of areas to make a better judgment on that loan application. So the list of opportunities goes on and on.
All right, well, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of Executive Edge. A huge thanks to both you, Shea and Ann, for sharing your insights on how AI is driving innovation, efficiency, and security and financial services. As we discussed, AI is not just a buzzword. It's completely reshaping the industry and enhancing operations, strengthening security, enhancing customer experiences. So thank you everyone that tuned in for us today. If you found this discussion valuable, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more executive insights into today's top technology trends. And until next time, I'm Lauren Langer, and this has been Executive Edge. Thank you, guys.